hear them. So there you go. The recording has started. Welcome everyone again. I'm Juliet Alexander.
And this is Mia Morris.
And welcome to this very special tribute to one of our unsung heroes, really, the fabulous Baroness Ros Howells. We believe in giving people their flowers whilst they're still here to get them. And it's thanks to people like Mia and to Tony Warner from Black History Walks that this event is happening today. So we're really grateful that you could join us. Now, I know Ros was a very, very proud Grenadian, and we're very fortunate to have one of the brothers, shall I say, and sister from Grenada, somebody that I know well, worked with, both Mia and myself worked with this person. And we've got the fabulous Alex Pascal and Joyce Pascal who are online, and they will tell us a little bit more about Ros and those formative years that made her the powerhouse that she later became. Are you there, Alex? Alex, you may need to unmute if you're not already unmuted. Can you, Tony, is his mic on or off? I can't see from here.
He's connecting to audio, so give it a couple of seconds. It literally says connecting to audio right now on his icon.
Okay, well, whilst we wait for Alex Pascal and Joyce Pascal, his wife, to connect to audio, just to say that many of you will know that name from Black Londoners back in the day. Alex was basically the mouthpiece of the Black community here in the UK. That's fair to say. And Mia worked with him, and so did I. I worked with him as the co-presenter of Black Londoners, and even before I came along, Mia worked with him as one of the voices behind the scenes as well. Alex is from Grenada, as was Baroness Howells, and he wanted to give a very special tribute to Baroness Howells today. Are you there, Alex? Still. Okay, we're going to give him a quick call, but whilst we're waiting, we have a number of contributors who would like to really talk about the amazing legacy and the work that Baroness Ros Howells has done here in the UK. I mean, right from the very beginning up to now. And in fact, whilst we wait for Alex, what I'll do is I'll read a little tribute from another very prominent Grenadian. Many of you will know Professor Gus John. And Professor Gus John has been an educator and working for the rights of young people in the UK for many, many years. And he was going to come along and talk and give a tribute to Baroness Howells. Unfortunately, he's lost his voice, which is pretty awful for Gus John. Many of you who know him, he's an amazing orator and able to speak on a number of different things. He has sent the tribute that he was going to say, and if you will bear with me, I'll read it to you. Basically, he starts by saying, as a fellow Grenadian, I knew of Ros before I even met her. We met between 1973 and 1977. I directed a nationwide research project examining local authorities' youth policies and provision in relationship to Black young people. Lewisham was one of the boroughs in which we worked, both with local authority officers and specifically with the Moonshot Youth Club. Ros worked there, focusing on girls and young women's development and on their experience of council services. Some of the young men at Moonshot included a young sound system boss, Les Henry, Professor Les Henry, who many of us know. He's now at the University of West London. Now, at that time, remember this is the late 70s, racism as an institutional and personal, both within the council and especially the police, was very much a part of their day-to-day experience. There were tensions in the relationship between the young people on the one hand, and also between the borough and the police commander. Now, Ros and Sybil Phoenix, again, another stalwart, many of you will know Sybil Phoenix, were the go-betweens. They were responsible, compliant, older members of the community who hoped would bring the young people into line and into discussions and consultations with the police. Now, this made what I considered, this is Gus John speaking, this made what I considered to be a creative tension, to say the least. And in that tension, workers such as Ros, Sybil, Asquith Gibbs, the borough's senior race equality officer, learned that there was indeed a need to interrogate and protest against the activities of both the police and certain services. Ros, Baroness Howells, was also one of the founding members of the Marsha Phoenix Trust, which was established in honor of Sybil's young daughter, who was killed in a car crash. There were lots of testing times, as Gus John talks about here, the Battle of Lewisham in August 1977, and of course the horrific New Cross massacre in January 1981, as well as the racist firebombing of the then Pagnell Street Centre itself. This is a real pocket history that Professor Gus John is giving us on that era, and also on Baroness Ros Howell's involvement in that era. Professor Gus John goes on to say, I next worked with Ros when, after the Labour victory in 1997, Tony Blair invited both of them, that's Gus John and Baroness Howells, and several others to form a race equality forum to advise Jack Straw as Home Secretary on matters to do with race and with social exclusion. Basically, it led to two things. One, pushing the horrific murder of Stephen Lawrence higher up the new government's agenda, and eventually the Stephen Lawrence inquiry, which came about as a response to that, and the amendment of the 1976 Race Relations Act, which most public bodies, I should say, and other employers had been ignoring, except when they had to. Now, the Race Relations Amendment Act in 2000 might never have happened and might never have even seen the light of day, and would certainly have had much less teeth, in Professor Gus John's view, had it not been for the work that Ros Howells, Baroness Ros Howells, and himself and others put in. Now, Professor Gus John finishes by saying Ros was brought upstairs to the House of Lords in 1999, later becoming Baroness Howells of St. David's. And that St. David's is a very powerful reminder of her roots, because it was in St. David's, the parish in Grenada, where Ros Howells grew up. She joined her sister in spirit and in heart, Dame Hilda Bino, in those elevated ranks, Hilda having been governor of Grenada as a crown colony between 68 and 1972. Now, this is a tribute from Professor Gus John. He very much hoped to be here with us today. Unfortunately, he was stricken by loss of voice and the lurgy that's going round and round, which is really decimating a lot of people. But he's very kindly sent this for us to read. So that's one of the first tributes that we have to Baroness Ros Howells. As I said, we're still hoping, Alex?
We're still hoping for Alex.
He's not there yet. Okay, well, you know what? We're waiting for Alex Pascal and Joyce Pascal to join us. And Alex has even engineered a sing-song, so that will come a bit later on. But in the meantime, there are a number of speakers who want to talk about the amazing, wonderful life and legacy of Baroness Ros Howells. And one of them wants to talk about the life of service to the community, which is basically what she did throughout her history. And I know that one of those people is Lynette Coles, who I think Mia...
Yeah, so I've got a message from Lynette Green-Coles, who's the Secretary of the British Caribbean Association. We're fortunate to have Baroness Howells as its life Vice President. Lady Howells has been a friend of the BCA and has supported its causes over the years. She has always listened to our concerns and taken them forward. She has not only been supportive to our cause, but has attended our functions and always has a visible presence. We are very honoured and privileged to have Lady Howells as our life Vice President. Unfortunately, Lynette has guests and she's unable to join us today. So that's the message from Lynette Green-Coles, former Secretary of the British Caribbean Association, which was founded by fellow Grenadian, Lord David Pitt.
Oh my goodness, all the names are coming out today, David Pitt and all. That's just amazing. We're still holding on for Alex Pascal, but we will drop him in as soon as he comes through. But we have a number of other tributes. We've got one from Jeff Thompson, who many of you remember as a stalwart. I know that when Mia and I did a tribute for Herman Ouseley, yes, Lord Herman Ouseley, Jeff gave an amazing speech, and he talked about his life and all the amazing things that he had done in the time. And I think you've got that, Mia.
Yeah, so Jeff says, Baroness Howell epitomizes the strength of character, resilience, and above all, integrity that reflected the times of social and cultural indifference and even extreme societal racism. She was a voice of reason, yet defiant in her ability to be diplomatic and not compromise our values, reflective of our diaspora. There's much that we can say about her, and so much to be thankful to her for in all that she contributed, and by contribution empowering generations like mine who have followed to retain and remain dignified yet resolute in the fight. Sorry I was unable to join you as originally hoped. Jeff Thompson, Dr. Jeff Thompson, MBE.
That's an amazing tribute, and there are many more to come. We also have actually a lovely pre-record of a beautiful poem that was pre-recorded by one of her dear friends, Maureen Roberts. And I think it'd be a nice time if we could just listen to this. And Tony is the mastermind. He's weaving it all together. Oh, is that Alex?
Alex? Could you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Alex. Lovely.
Ah, at last. I can't see you, but you could
reunited after 40 years.
I know. I'm sorry about that. I'm not as efficient as you on these technical matters, you know what I mean? And so I can't get the video to come up anyway.
Have you looked at the bottom where it's got the video camera and on? Pick that. No?
Could you hear me?
We can hear you perfectly. It'd be lovely to see you. Have you got a video on the bottom left? Have you got?
You said your video is stopped. It says.
No?
Have you?
No, we can't see you still. I don't know if Tony.
It says safe driving mode above, leave. And then in the middle it says your video is stopped.
Just continue, Alex, don't worry.
All right. Okay. Well, I have Joyce here with me. And we both would like to be part of this fantastic tribute to a marvelous lady that we have known. I will put Joyce to begin because Joyce has known her from school days to now. So here is Joyce.
Thank you.
Hello, it's Joyce here. It's great to be giving such a tribute to Ros, as we call her. And thank you for inviting us. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Joyce, perfectly. Or shall I call you Mum?
Yes, you can. Okay, Ros, I knew Ros for at least 77 years. I'm probably one of the oldest one of the person that knew her longest in this country. When I was her family and my family are friends, but I went to school at the St. Joseph's Convent. When I entered, she at 10, she left. So she was one of the big girls, as we call them. And then when I came to Britain again, I met her. I met her with her family here, with her sisters, actually, Dr. One of us, Hilda Bino. But Ros, I've worked a lot with Ros in the background all the time. We did things together like roots to celebrate your roots. And we have a video, we have a recording of that. And we also have with Ros Caribbean Focus 86, which, yeah, she worked with Alex. I recommended her to be the chair because I said to Alex, you work well with women, so why don't you call Ros and offer her the job? and she got the job from the Commonwealth Institute, and she worked for 2 years, one full year, which is 1986.
85 to 86.
Yeah, 85 was the preparation, and 86 it came about. And then we actually, myself and Ros, did a really, it's a big, because we did the exhibition. She called me in because I'm a watercolor artist, and I had a list of artists, which I was intending to set up a gallery. I remember, Juliet, you met us when we were in 81, I think. One Sunday morning, we went to the market to find a fireplace because ours was stolen.
Oh, yes.
You remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Well, then I was setting up a gallery for artists to hang, Black artists to hang. There was nowhere to hang. And, but anyway, I carried on with Ros, and we did, she met a critic about saying that he's a very prominent art critic, said there was no valid artist here, Black artists that's worth hanging anywhere. So she challenged him, and we set up this exhibition, and we called it the Alternative Tate. And we invited the director of the Tate Gallery to come in and look at our exhibition. Yes. And we did. And he then recognized, yes, there were artists. At that time, we wanted Obi Williams to be in the exhibition, but he was touring and he wasn't in Britain at the time. So we carried on and we had our exhibition. And he came in and had a look at our artists. And after that, the Tate Gallery, for the first time, commissioned the works of 2 Asian artists. Mm-hmm. And now it's no small thing. Aubrey Williams have a room given to him at the Tate Gallery. Is there right now.
That's right. And Hugh Locke had that amazing exhibition. I met you and Alex and Deirdre there the other day.
Yes. And that is really no small thing due to our Alternative Tate. And the director began to commission Black artists, and Excellent. It is our legacy.
Excellent. I mean, we're talking about Baroness Howells, but really, Joyce, you've been right in the thick of it.
Yes. Oh yes. Well, at the time, Alex was doing beginning to do his Black Londoners in the few years after that, but really. Caribbean Focus 86, which went nationally.
52 committees.
With 52 committees across Britain, which frightened the authorities. They thought if we could set that up in no small time, then we would be dangerous people that could set up a riot, they said.
That's how they looked at it.
And that's how they looked at
it. They're always afraid of us rioting, aren't they? For goodness sakes.
Well, we're not the only ones. Look at what's happening right now. So, so that is all. That is. I wish Ros would know about it. That actually, lots of people are now trying to grab hold of that sort of legacy. No, but it is us. It was only myself and Ros. As a matter of fact, we had a joke on Good Friday. We were rushing around in her car to invite these artists all over London. But Ros could never find her car when we went. She could never find where she parked.
Where she parked it, yes.
That one.
Oh my goodness.
Because so we ended up with they were just beginning to have the yellow lines where you would be charged. And Ros said just because her car wheel wasn't on the yellow lines, she said to the man, "Mister, you see my car is on your yellow line." And so we laughed at that. And he said, oh, he charged her anyway. But
Good. It's lovely to hear those very human
Yeah.
parts of it, because we hear about the service and everything, but it's lovely to hear about the woman.
But yes, about the woman, I have to go now. About the woman in Grenada, of course, she comes from two places in Grenada, which is Moya, which is not far from what's his name? Soldier, what's his name? Bihari.
Oh, yes.
Yes. He
You're
actually
breaking up a
lived
bit, Joyce.
in Kroshu. She lived in Kroshu, and her nieces and nephews went to school with me, and some of them have died. We still keep in touch.
Yes.
Alex is on now.
Okay, thank you, Joyce. That was lovely.
Yeah. Let me place Ros in a way. The smile, the eyes, and the voice. You have to read between the three to see the ambassador that we have. She's from a family really of ambassadors. Her sister, eldest sister, Joyce spoke about before, the first woman Governor General of the Caribbean. I met Ros here at the Moonshot Club in Lewisham. And then it was the period when the police was really after the Black youngsters. And I remember how she was handling them. That's when the blue beat music shifted into the reggae music. And when there was one guy that more or less controlled the area, Jah Shaka. I remember that very well. Then later on, Ros and I got together, and the one that Joyce mentioned before, but let me take before that, she deputized as High Commissioner for Grenada. As a diplomat, she could do that. Then she got into community relations through Asquith Gibbs, another Grenadian early broadcaster, and she was then the chairman of the Lewisham Council for Community Relations. Ros moved from there, and the biggest thing that we did was Caribbean Focus 86, 52 committees around Britain. I had a train that I ran into 18 cities in 21 days. It's never been done in British history. And I liked Ros for how we worked together. We never argued. We may disagree, but we never argued. That is brilliant when you look at that. And if you were to say to Ros, Alex says, wine by the glass, she would die with laughter.
She would smile, I think.
Because we were on our way down and we went into a restaurant, and there was a sign behind us that says wine by the glass. And we started to laugh because it says Caribbean language, and what is written there can be interpreted in different ways.
You mean dancing?
In dancing. And we have chosen, I would make this short because the volume of what I have, I've interviewed Ros. She's told me her stories of leaving the Caribbean to actually head to Hollywood to become a film star.
Mm-hmm.
That was the aim of her father, her parents, and her three sisters. They were actually groomed to become film stars. It's her own voice is telling that to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to get to the song that we, Joyce and I, would like to give in tribute to this wonderful woman. And is glad that she is still alive with us, that she can hear it.
Absolutely. I think we've got the words for the song because people might want to. So Tony, is it possible for us to put that up on screen?
No, we don't have the words for the song, sorry.
Oh, you don't?
Tony, if we sing, you can hum. You could do what Juliet, you have a great voice, so I know you will do the singing.
No way.
I'll be the backup.
No way.
Accept this song that although it's composed by and being now delivered by Grenadians, the song takes in the peoples of the world, because that's the Caribbean itself. We are made up of a potpourri of the world's people. I will choose a key and we'll get to it.
Oh my goodness, we haven't had time to practice. Okay, I depend on Mia to sing with me.
Oh, really? I have to go to Hollywood.
All right.
Okay.
My oh dear land, wherever my footsteps wander, ever to thee my heart still turns again. For thee my love grows ever fonder, fonder,
Still in its might, it is akin to pain.
ever to thee.
Bound by love and duty.
No dear
Land to me in all the earth.
in all world.
By these three ties of hope and love and
By these three times
to thee I cleave, dear land.
to thee I cleave, dear land
That
that
gave me birth.
gave birth. Yet I look on
Beyond earth's
beyond
limitation,
earth's limitation
to rarer hope of where our visions meet.
of where our visions meet.
Fairest of earth's
Rest of earth,
most wonderful
a
creation,
wonderful creation,
bathed in the light
the light
of heaven's
of
open womb.
heaven's own morning beams. There we shall meet from
Clime and nation,
nation. There we shall meet
in answer to the call.
to the call. There we shall meet
In joyous consent,
glorious consecration.
sons of one
The
father,
one Father,
daughters.
just one and all.
Yay! Fabulous.
Thank you. I didn't join in. Simon Cowell can't get me out of bed to perform, so I can't perform today.
Thank God. Alex, that was a beautiful tribute. Alex, Joyce, lovely, lovely, lovely. Thank you.
And there's a message from Margaret Noel from Descendants to thank Joyce for her contribution.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bless you.
thank you.
Sorry about
Thank you.
No, don't be sorry. We're glad you could, and do stay on because you might want to contribute again later on. Now that you're on, don't jump off.
Okay,
that.
Nice.
we're going to have Linda Bellis after this tribute from Isa Davis. And Isa Davis is from the Lottie Betts Priddy Education Trust. And Lottie Betts Priddy sadly died, and the trust was set up in her name. And she used to work with Len Garrison at the African Caribbean Education Resource. This message is from Sierra Leone, and she says, always been a small charity. The Lottie Betts Education was especially lucky to have Baroness Ros Howells on board as our patron. What a privilege and an honour that was. The Baroness during her active years placed great value on her community. This was especially beneficial to us as a young, small, up-and-coming charity, particularly when organising fundraising events in the local community. To have her name on board to help us raise awareness of our aims, focusing on the community and education, particularly the girl child, were indeed an asset. Her presence also at some of our various local South London fundraising events was phenomenal. In particular, the Day of the African Child, which is held on June the 16th, which was also Lottie's birthday, our carol services, and our one-off Black History Month events with local young people playing the steel band. This was awesome for everyone, including Baroness Howells. Baroness Howells was very supportive as patron of our charity and served us well for many years. She listened attentively and gave good advice at the few meetings which she attended. I sincerely hope the event goes well And if there's more I can offer, please let me know. And this is from Isa Davis, who's all the way in Sierra Leone. Thank you.
That is lovely. But we also have, hopefully online, Patrick Vernon. I'm not sure if he was able to connect. Patrick, are you there? I think, no, not yet.
Is Linda there?
Who's that?
And Linda,
Yes,
she has your name. You just have to recognize that it's Julie Alexander, but it's actually Linda.
Oh, okay. Yes, Linda. Let's go to Linda then. Linda Bellos. Hello, Linda, are you there? Just give you, I know it takes ages, doesn't it? Just on mute and if possible, open your camera as well so that we can see you. So this is Linda Bellos. I thought I heard her. Is he there? No, I can't see him either.
I'm here.
Oh, Patrick,
I'm under your name for some reason.
you're under my name. Ah, that's a secret. I'm not going to tell anyone
Yes,
about it.
I am the real Juliet Alexander. The other person is a fraud.
God help you.
So, so it's really great. And I want to acknowledge both Juliet, Tony, and Mia in organising this. It seems to be a regular feature now of having these tributes to our elders, which is really important. So, in terms of Ros, Baroness Ros, I knew Ros through her daughter, a late daughter, sadly, Amanda Howells. And I used to be a volunteer for the Dawson Youth Project in Hackney, where Amanda worked as a project manager. And I got to know Amanda really, really well. And I think it was around about the same time when Ros was made a peer. And Amanda kept on talking about her mum all the time. I honestly didn't know all the fantastic stuff she did in South London. But when I got to learn through Amanda about what her mum did, so I would love to meet your mum. She sounds really interesting. So that's what she did. So she arranged tea, and I met Ros at Amanda's home in South London, and we just got on really, really well. And then we exchanged numbers, and I had a personal friendship with Ros for many, many years. She used to call me ever so often, and she'd call me, "Now, young man, I've got something to tell you, young man." And, you know, she had this kind of demeanor of that generation where when she summoned you, you had to listen. And so she gave me lots of advice. She actually, in many ways, encouraged me to eventually get involved in politics. And became, some years later after that, I became a councillor in Hackney. But I think when she became a peer, this is quite important, she was lobbying on a number of whole range of issues around healthcare for Black elders. She was campaigning around the freeze when the pensions of Caribbean elders were frozen. She was campaigning on these big issues, which is still a big concern even today, to be quite honest. But what's more important about Ros, she had compassion. She had, and I think what Alex said, she had this statesman-like quality, a diplomatic equality, and it was a pity that she wasn't given any more opportunities at a national level through at the time the Labour government to have a key role, because I think she had done some fantastic stuff. She was really concerned about young people and education as well. But more importantly, she was a kind of visionary, because she was kind of looking back on her own lived experiences of growing up in the Caribbean, seeing the plight of the Black community, the Caribbean community, and what more could we do and really raise our concerns. And I think it's a real tribute to her and all the fantastic stuff that she's done for many decades. And, you know, and she's a Windrush pioneer. And you're quite right, even though she has been in the House of Lords and she's got lots of recognition, not many people don't know her in the community. Unless you live in Lewisham, South London, then you would know of her. But she's not that well known, which is a pity, actually. So this is, I hope on the back of this event today, that we could do something much more to try and elevate her contribution. She worked behind the scenes. Maybe she wasn't there in the front of the media, she was working behind the scenes all the time. And more importantly, she was nurturing and influencing people. And I know that she's nurtured lots of people on this call who got into politics, activism. And I think that needs to be recognised, that you need to have leaders who are working behind the scenes, encouraging people, empowering people. And I can remember a famous picture of me and her together. I don't know if I was trying to find it online actually. There's both of us. I think Prince Charles had, or King Charles now, had, and if you can remember, some of you were there. There was this big soiree at Clarence House around about 2008, 2009. It wasn't classed as a Windrush event, but it was basically saying, it was, you know, there were a lot of people from the Caribbean heritage at this event, and I was there with Ros. I was there and saw Ros. We were just talking and stuff like that, and it was, and to me, it kind of epitomised that, you know, after all the years of struggle, you know, we've reached. But the question is, what more can we do to make sure that contribution reflected on that? So some of the things that she was campaigning is still outstanding. We still need to campaign for the pension rights of Caribbean elders in the Caribbean. That's still an important issue. In many ways, you can argue that it's almost like one of those antecedents leading up to the Windrush scandal, that lack of recognition and respect as well. But more importantly, it's about inspiring new people in public life. She had a number of roles in public life, and it's about, you know, it's in making sure that we are at the table in key places of decision making. And she paved the way like other Windrush elders, and we need to give tribute to that as well. So Ros, we care about you, we're thinking about you, and you know, and thank you for your contribution, and thank you on a personal level for me to inspire me to get involved in public life too.
That's beautiful. Thank you very much for that. And
next we have Linda Bellos, who's going to join us online. Thank you, Patrick. Are you there, Linda? She should be joining.
Yeah. And that was, well, seeing as Patrick was called Juliet, this could be Linda called Patrick. Linda, can you hear us? No? Well, it was interesting. Whilst Patrick was talking, I saw a message from Roxanne St. Clair, again, somebody who's done amazing work in her own right. And she was saying thank you to Baroness Howells for the support she's given to the organisation, which is very close to Roxanne St. Clair's heart, which is the Commonwealth Girls Education Fund. And it's what Patrick was saying there, you know, basically Ros is entwined in Black British life and Caribbean life. And she's touched so many different organizations that we aren't always fully aware of. So this, you know, we're very pleased and honored to be able to give her this tribute and to remember all the amazing work that she has done and to pay testimony to her, really. But as Mia said, we're waiting for Linda.
Yeah, Ansel.
Is Ansel Wong there then? Oh, okay. But before that, we've got a lovely poem. I mentioned this before, the Maureen Roberts poem. Tony, I wonder if we could just play that, please, whilst we're waiting. Have we got that?
Yes, we do. Just give me a second to get it up on the screen.
Sorry. Yes, yes. Maureen Roberts worked for many years at the Metropolitan Archives and was an amazing lady and worked very closely with Baroness Howells. She was in awe of her. You've heard other people say that because of her, they entered politics, because of her, they worked with young people, because of her, laws even were changed. So this, Maureen just wanted to remember her and to recognize her and pay tribute to her in poetry. Thanks, Tony.
Come, let us talk. Come, let us talk. Come, let us talk about things. When our parents first came to the motherland, they didn't come to stay, just came to lend a hand, wanted a little money to go home buy land, found themselves working in factories night and day, 10 shillings a week, food and rent to pay. Still, they sent a little money back home each week. They worked all the hours God could send, got up early in the morning, went to bed well after 10. They didn't come to stay, just came to lend a hand. They had it all planned. They had it all planned. They didn't come to stay, just came to lend a hand. Wanted some money to buy a piece of land. Come, let us talk. Come, let us talk. Come, let us talk about things. Some sent for their daughters, some for their sons. They sent for mothers, husbands and wives, brothers and sisters, whether 1 or 5. No, we make some money, but we must stick to we plan. When we make some money, we can go home, buy land. Come, let we talk. Come, let we talk. Come, let we talk about things. So many of them all living in a room, hair pressing, food cooking, clothes washing, paraffin heater smelling and life living. The fogs were thick, the winters cold. They had to spend money on heavy overcoats. Once in a while, when they felt most alone, Grandma sent a box all the way from home. Ground provisions, yam, cassava, dasheen, sweet potatoes, green bananas, ripe plantain. Both bush tea, thyme, ferrule, limacol, farin, white rum and tamarind balls. Saltfish, herrings, mackerel and jacks, sugarcane wrapped in flour sacks, vanilla, nutmeg, parched corn and mace, all nectar in a land that was foreign and strange, a little piece of balm to ease a lot of pain. Come, let we talk. Come, let we talk. Come, let we talk about things. They didn't come to stay. They had it all planned. Wanted some money to buy a piece of land. In autumn was rain, in winter was snow. Spring was, well, spring, just so. But the living was fine in the summertime. They gathered together, shared a bottle of rum, and talked old talk all night long. Talked about moonlight, brighter than day. Talked about rivers, streams and bays. Talked about ligaroo and men who deal, about cutting cane and feeding pigs, about washing in rivers, swimming in the sea, catching land crab and eating lambie. And Sunday was church and drinking cocoa tea. Come, let we talk. Come, let we talk. Come, let we talk about things. You know, you and me, you and we, we'll be talking for a long, long time.
That was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's an incredible poem by Maureen Roberts, a fellow Grenadian, from a book of anthology published by Bogle Overture. Now I've got
You've got Linda Bellos there.
yeah, I'm trying to read them. She muted up the other side.
She has. Shall I read this one?
Well, we have a tribute from Ansel Wong, who unfortunately has the lurgy that's going around at the moment. Quite a lot of it about.
Yes. We hope to bring Linda Bellos in a moment. We're having a bit of difficulty, a technical difficulty from both ends, it sounds like. But yes, this is from Ansel Wong, CBE, and he just wanted us to read this. As Amir said, he would have loved to have been here, but he's unwell. So he starts by saying, Baroness Howells was my conscience. She took delight in challenging me at every step of my public engagements, not afraid to voice her views, not in any strong or abusive tones, but as a simple expression from them that all her strong maternal roles she exercised over us. This is Ansel Wong talking about Baroness Howells. He says, she was a regular visitor to us in County Hall. She exercised her right as a respected community voice to help shape our programs. In her later years, their frequent, sorry, I can hardly read this. In her later years, she was there, and her frequent exhortations to have some tea in the Lords, followed by dismissive comments, stinging in their rebuke for not accepting. Yes, Baroness Howells did enjoy her tea, and she did like to invite people. And Ansel Wong goes on to say, this I regret, as I miss several opportunities to meet her before she left the House of Lords. Now that's a commentary from Anson Wong, who unfortunately could not be here with us today, but who wanted at least to add his voice to all the many voices raised here today. And the chat is available. If you have anything that you'd like to add in it, please do so, as Roxanne Sinclair just did. We're still, I believe, having some difficulty getting Linda Benos, but I think Mia's just gone through to her, and hopefully we will have her up soon. The chat is available if you've got any comments, or if there's anything you want to add about Ros Howells, please do so. I can see some here. Let me just read some of them here. This is Michael Hamilton, director of Ubeli. He said, I first met her when I was about 23. Ros was my boss at Greenwich. At the time, she was so caring of me as a young man. She would call me to her office to share stories and direction. Over the years, we've continued to connect, and I've continued to learn from her. Over the years, she has provided ways of seeing and understanding and acting through her light touch and gentle care. And that is from Michael Hamilton. I believe there's another one here. Oh yes, this is from Roxanne. We at the Commonwealth Girls Education Fund are delighted to have Baroness Howells as one of our patrons. We sponsored a secondary education of bright but poor girls around the Commonwealth.
Carry on.
Where else have we? Anything else? We've got Chris Smith, who's left a message. Is she here?
I got Linda.
Okay, Mia has Linda, so we can continue.
All right, Linda, go ahead.
Hello. Sorry. Tell me, I've been cut off, so tell me where you're up to.
Paying tribute to Baroness as a woman to woman.
Right. Well, I must say that I was always impressed by her competence, very level-headed, and I suppose that's rather a bit different to me, who could be quite well, not as diplomatic as she. And I'm very impressed with her real competence and her way of doing things. Very, very, yeah, just good. Good woman. And what a lovely long life. I hope all was well.
Okay. Thank you, Linda. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Well, thank you for that. That tribute from Linda Benos, who many of us remember from her GLA days, closes this bit about those formative years, but now starts us and introduces us to the amazing life that Baroness Howells had as a parliamentarian.
Right. So now we're going to start playing some audios that we've got in and some videos. We're going to start off with a contribution.
I think the first one is from Baroness Amos, Valerie Amos, who is the Dean of a university in Oxford, one of the first Black female deans there. She was, of course, the Undersecretary General for Humanitarian and Parliamentary Affairs under Ban Ki-moon at the UN. And she also is one of the founders with her sister Colleen Amos of the Amos Bursary, which is an amazing charity which works with young people to ensure that Black young people of Caribbean and African origin, to ensure that they're represented at both at top universities in the UK and within competitive workforces. And this is a gorgeous picture of Ros in the middle, with Patricia Scotland, Baroness Scotland on the right, who's the Commonwealth Secretary General, and Baroness Amos on the left, who is the Dean of one of the huge university colleges in Oxford. And this is a tribute from Baroness Valerie Amos. Thank you.
Ros, you're an inspiration, a pioneer who for decades has been at the forefront of challenging racism and discrimination, a strong voice for social justice and for racial equality. You have challenged, you have campaigned, you have spoken up, you have given commitment, and you have been sustained in that commitment. You have talked about the importance of community engagement. You have championed our young people who for so many years have faced negativity. And you have particularly spoken up for their experiences in the education and the criminal justice system. You've been a wise voice, a strong advocate, always there to give advice. From the very start, you supported us when my sister Colleen and I were setting up the Amos Bursary. We all valued the communication that you brought to us, the engagement with the young people, and the advocacy, going out and talking about the importance of that organisation. And you've always done it in a calm, a dignified, a humane way. You've been there for all of us. Thank you. Ros, you're an
Thank you. No, that was a tribute to Ros by Baroness Valerie Amos. Thank you very much for that.
We now have a tribute from Lord Herman Uzi. He's unable to join us, but he always referred to Ros herself as his second mother, and she'd always help my mum whenever she was struggling with her mobility. Ros Howell's lifelong actions and achievements speak for themselves. People love her, and her public service record is second to none. She has my appreciation, respect, admiration, blessings, and love. And that's from Herman Uzi.
That's lovely. And I'm just going back, we're going to continue with the tributes, but I'm just looking at the chat here. And this is from, I believe it's Velma. And she says, I too would like to send a written tribute to Ros. I worked with her at the Simba Project. We challenged many misconceptions where Black people are concerned. She's a woman of substance and loved by many in the Royal Borough of Greenwich. Thank you very much. And the fabulous Dawn Hill has said, Maureen, a beautiful poem. That was the poem that was read by Maureen Roberts, which had me salivating with all that talk of food. And that was lovely. And then we've got Abigail Bernard, who's written in to say, congratulations to Baroness Howells. And this is so important to acknowledge your hard work and contributions. That's lovely. I mean, this recording will be shown to Ros. Ros is not in the best of health at the moment, but this recording will be shown to her, and we know that she will appreciate it. And as we said, it's best to have your flowers whilst you're still able to receive them. Now, we have another recorded comment, and this one was from Dawn Butler. So if we have that one, please, one from Dawn Butler, that would be brilliant. Dawn Butler MP, who sent, there she is, Dawn Butler
Hi,
MP.
Baroness Howells. Dawn Butler, Member of Parliament. And I just want to say that whenever we passed each other through the corridors of Parliament, we never really passed each other. We always had something to say, and you always gave me very, very sound advice, whether it was about my personal life or politics. Your advice was always on point. And I just want to thank you for everything that you have done. You have been a constant in my political life. And I want to thank you for everything that you have done for me. It is on your shoulders that I stand. And I just want to say that I love you and I thank you. God bless. Bye.
Thank you very much. That was a tribute from Dawn Butler MP. And let me just go back to the chats. And this is from Rose. I just want to say that Baroness Ros Howells is one of our giant community matriarchs, on whose shoulders all Caribbean people living in the UK and women like me stand. We've achieved because she paved the way. Women like her quietly but persistently challenge the status quo as it affects Black people, advocating for Black people and ensuring that change has happened. Hers is a name we should all know. Absolutely right. And this is part of why we're doing this today. But, you know, every one of us can go and preach this name and share the vision and talk about her legacy. And that's what we as people need to do. We don't have a media in this country that is doing that. So we as individuals need to push the media and to make sure that people like Ros are remembered.
We have a lovely message from David Lammy, which says, Baroness Ros Howells has spent her entire career devoted to battling against injustice and inequality. She notably stood alongside Stephen Lawrence's family and offered invaluable support during their difficult time. Her remarkable efforts have been duly recognised with an OBE award in 1994, followed by a peerage in 1999. She's a trailblazer and I salute her.
That's excellent. And that's from David Lammy, MP. Excellent. We also have David Michael, who I hope is online.
It's very early in the morning in Dominica, so thank you, David, for staying up.
Yep. Yes, I am with you.
What
Thank
do
you
do
very
in Dominica? Why aren't you
Yeah.
here in the rain like the rest of us?
Yeah, well, and also I would like to thank Mia, Juliet, Tony, and everyone involved in putting together this wonderful tribute to a very wonderful Baroness Ros Howells. I'm privileged through my ex-partner, who's from Carriacou, to have visited Grenada before the revolution, during the revolution, and after the revolution. So I feel very privileged today, and I'd like to share with Baroness Howells and her daughter Anne and Michael and the rest of the family. I would like to pay this tribute. I don't know if Tony can get up one of the photos I sent. I would like to join the tributes to Baroness Ros Howells OBE. She has championed many human rights, equalities, and anti-racism causes over the years. I am privileged to have shared the same spaces with her on many occasions and to have met her on her journey. She was involved in leadership of race equality in the London boroughs of Lewisham and Greenwich. She supported the iconic Reverend Sybil Phoenix OBE with the pioneering Moonshot Youth Centre in Lewisham. She supported us when we launched the first Black Police Association in Britain in the Metropolitan Police Service. She was a key supporter of Baroness Doreen Lawrence OBE during the Stephen Lawrence family campaign and during the Stephen Lawrence inquiry. She added her weight to calls for a second inquest into the deaths of the young people in the New Cross fire, which subsequently happened. She's a champion of Black women in Europe. Over the years, I have benefited personally from her personal support and counseling. She has been a motivational speaker at numerous community and political events that I've attended. On being elevated to the House of Lords, she remained an unpretentious community champion. I was privileged to be invited to tea at the House of Lords by Baroness Howells, and she made arrangements for me to sit in the chamber to listen to a debate. I will be forever grateful for the care, support, and time she has given to me and my family over the years. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. That was lovely. Thank you very much. Again, going back to our chats, Margaret Noel, hello Margaret, says beautiful tributes for an amazing woman. And Miranda Greal says, Sakafet, David.
Sakafet, Miranda.
All right, thank you, David. Thank you. We now move on to, we continue with our tributes, and this is one of our pioneering leaders, politicians, one of the first Black female politicians in the UK, one of the first Black politicians, one of the Gang of Five in the UK. And hopefully Diane is online, Diane Abbott. There you are, Diane Abbott, MP. Thank you very much for joining us.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Very good. First of all, I want to congratulate Mia and Juliet for organising this wonderful tribute. Then I want to say we've been talking about Ros going to Lords, but the point about Ros was she was always a lady. From the very first time I met her, she was a real lady, very dignified, very gracious, very ladylike, and an example to us all, or maybe just an example to me. It would not be right to talk about Ros without talking about her family, her husband John, who adored her and was her support and mainstay all through her public life, and her two daughters, Mandy, who's been mentioned, who sadly passed away, and Anne. It was through Ros I got to know about an earlier generation of Black women activists, women like Jocelyn Barrow, women like Sybil Phoenix, who sadly people don't know enough about now, but people like, I think a lot of people on this call, including myself, wouldn't be doing what we're doing if it wasn't for the activities of women like Jocelyn and Sybil. Ros got involved in very many local campaigns. She was involved in the New Cross fire, which some of us would remember that fire in New Cross. 13 dead, nothing said was the slogan. And she was also involved in the Stephen Lawrence campaign. And Ros told me about the Stephen Lawrence campaign when it wasn't known about widely, before there was a Labour government. And she came to talk to me about it and about the plight of Doreen and Neville Lawrence, and to help them out. And Neville was a craftsman and a painter and decorator. And to help them out, I put him, you know, by the way of some work. But the thing that I did, prompted by Ros, was to get together with Bernie Grant and before the election in '97, take Doreen to see Jack Straw. And Jack Straw told me before we brought Doreen in that the Metropolitan Police had told him not to meet with Doreen. But Jack ignored them. He met with her. She was quite inspirational. And that is why after we came to power, Jack set up the Macpherson inquiry. So she was a great woman. She was a big supporter of mine, very loving towards my son. And I'm very glad to be able to play a part in this dedication and appreciation today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Diane. That was lovely, beautifully said. Thank you very much. And following in your footsteps is another contribution from another politician, Belle, who very much followed in your footsteps because she used to be your Diane's very close parliamentary support and then with Diane's pushing and encouragement became an MP herself. So Belle wanted to give her own tribute to Ros, so here she is.
Hi Ros, it's me, Belle, from Diane's office. Haven't seen you for so long, and we really, really do miss you in Parliament. Because I haven't seen you for so long, you may not know that I was actually elected as a Member of Parliament myself in 2019, and you were always so nice and supportive and encouraging of me, so I hope that it's something that would make you proud. As I said, miss you so much. Always been such a smiling face. I was always so happy to see when I walked through those corridors, sending you lots and lots of love. Bye, Ros.
That's lovely.
Thank you, Belle. Now there's a quote which links Jocelyn Barrow and Ros, and it's from Arthur Ashe. And it says, start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can.
Excellent. Perfect quote.
And now our final contribution is Floella Benjamin, who will be coming up shortly to do her tribute. Thank you.
We have had an amazing afternoon of the great and the good, I have to say. There have been some And it's a tribute to Baroness Ros Howells. So many people wanted to come on to pay tribute to her. So.
Hi Ros, greetings, not from Grenada, but from the south of France. Ros, you have made a difference to so many people's lives. You've changed the world for so many young people. We're now standing on your shoulders. Have a wonderful evening and keep smiling, because winners smile, and you have been a winner.
That's lovely. I love the way the rainfall seemed to follow Floella from London to the south of France. It's probably a waterfall, not the deluge that we've been having here. But we haven't quite finished. We've had some amazing tributes from politicians, from people who worked with Ros, people who just loved her, people who she inspired. And let me just quickly go back to the text here. And it says, Karen Block says, an inspiring and important afternoon. Thank you, Baroness, and those who paid tribute today. She's so proud. And Margaret's come back again and said, well done, Juliet and Mia. And it's not just us, of course, it's Tony Warner from the Black History Walks. So many wonderful and inspiring tributes. Congratulations and keep doing what you do. Thank you very much. There is one more, I believe.
Yes, so it's a message from Annie.
Annie is Ros's daughter. Do you want it read? Or?
Let's have a look. Let's see if I can get it up.
Okay.
Yeah, that one's to be read, I think.
It has to be read, yeah. Okay. It has to be read. She put a voicemail on, but it's not as strong. So
Connie, do you mind reading it?
Yeah, give me a second. But don't forget, actually, we actually have an interview with Baroness Howells herself, so we can play that now if you want.
Oh, play that then, please.
All right.
Thank you very much for reminding us. So many people, so much has happened today. So this was in May 2018. Excellent.
We need to thank Michael Boda from the Powerless for this.
I'm Rosalind Howells, the Baroness Howells of St. David's. I think I was very fortunate. I had a very good education in Grenada, and therefore when I came here, it was before immigration started. The result being that I was able to, if you like, walk in my sister's footsteps. She was a doctor. She just qualified the year we came up. And, so the path was easier. And we were living at a place where I was told we could only have a bath once a week. I think so many things have changed now. Okay. My generation here have worked very hard. We worked first with the education system, which was some young man, Grenadian, he wrote a book about how the black child is made educationally subnormal in the system. And I actually had a very good example of that in my own daughter, because when I went to the school to talk to the head, I said, well, how is my daughter getting on? And she said to me, well, Olive will always be Olive. I looked at her and I said, Olive? Who's Olive? Well, she really colored up at that time, but she had no idea who my child was. And from then on, I spent a lot of my energy helping others to look at how their children are being made educationally subnormal. They were called ESN classes and those sorts of things. It was a lot of work, but I didn't do this on my own. I have to tell you that there were groups of us who used to spend at County Hall, 1 o'clock in the morning, battling against it. And then there were people who thought it was a joke and were saying, oh, you can't say black coffee, or you can't, trying to make, but we were firm. We were lucky, those of us who were here then, around that sort of age, we were all well educated in the Caribbean. And then when immigration started, there were people who needed lots more help because they didn't have that kind of education. Well,
Stop it now,
education is
Tony.
the only means of upward mobility.
Okay. Then we heard it from the lady herself, and we're grateful to Michael Aboda from the Power List for giving us that interview, so we could actually hear Baroness Ros Howells speaking.
My name is Anne Dockery, and I'm the daughter of Baroness Howells. I would like to take this opportunity to thank everyone for their tributes to my mother, Baroness Howells of St David's. Special thank you to Maya Morris and Juliet Alexander for the time taken to put this tribute together. I've not followed my mother into the struggle for equal equality, but I did support her, and I'm extremely proud of her achievements. Not just her awards, the OBE and becoming a baroness, the respect she is held in by the Black community and beyond. This has been reflected in the comments of the participants today. She is, of course, my mother and grandmother to my children and great-grandmother to their children. My husband always says that she was the best grandmother he has known, and my children say the same. She introduced us to the Caribbean culture through family, friends, and visits to the region. Grenada was at the forefront of this, but she was a supporter of the entire Caribbean. She seemed to know everyone from royalty to the people on the bus. She treated them all the same, which was one of her great strengths. I remember when she visited me in Lagos, Nigeria. She was stopped by a lady in the airport, who I didn't know, who said, "Baroness Howells, what are you doing in Nigeria?" She simply replied, "Visiting my daughter." Family was always important to her. The house was always full of both family and friends. Christmas at Mum's was amazing. Traditional British Christmas dinner supplemented by rice and peas, plantains, stewed chicken, etc. The house was full of people dropping in, and she would feed them all. She was a lovely mum to both Mandy and I, and welcomed my cousin Jasmine into our home as well. She was a giving, generous mother who somehow managed to give time, love and energy to so many people. She's suffering from a cruel illness, which has taken so much from her physically and mentally. However, every now and then I get a glimmer of Ros, with a sparkle in her eyes, wanting to carry on the good fight.
That was the voice of Ros Howell's daughter, Annie, which basically sums it up. A beautiful woman, an educated woman, a woman of commitment who saw beyond her own personal privileges to try and make this country better for the many African and Caribbean young people and elders who did not have the privileges that she had. Simply an excellent lady.
We'll be visiting her shortly, and I've got, what else can I get her but the perfume woman to give to her, and the hand cream, because she loves hand cream from me. And just to say, this has been a fantastic opportunity to remind people of people who've made a significant contribution but can become invisible. So I'd like to take the opportunity to thank my co-host Juliet Alexander, and to the formidable Tony Warner, who's all the way somewhere warm and exotic in Barbados, in order to make this happen. So thank you everyone for coming online, and we're going to visit her shortly and make a presentation of a photo album and comments and photos of the people who contributed today. So thanks once again, and do have a lovely Sunday afternoon. It's sunny out there.
Yes.
So well done.
And I can just say that one thing that will happen as a result of this event is that we, Black History Walks, will organize a physical event to look at some of Dame Howell's amazing legacy. So in the next 6 months or so, look out for a physical event in Central London somewhere, which will look at some of the amazing legacy of Baroness Howell. So thank you for attending, and check out the stuff in the future.
Excellent. And thank you, Tony, all the way from Barbados, and all the other contributors from around the world, those listening in, and thank you for your comments. Again, all of this, we will make sure that Ros sees.
Ros, we salute you.
Thank you. Bye-bye all.